Good afternoon, YouTube. Pat the Sound Guy here. I'm on a gig here in Calagrews, Newfoundland, Conception Bay South. A gig that I like very much so, and get a chance to go to the Newfoundland where the band is from originally. And I've got the lead guitar player's guitar here. His D16 Martin. Great little guitar. This has been modified quite a bit to meet his needs by our favorite luthier, who is a guy that I trust very much so with string instruments. He's my choice to take stuff like this too, but here we are on the road and he's having troubles. It needs to go into him anyway to have some more fret work done. The frets are getting worn out. You know, I have 200 nights a year for a couple of years. You know, so many thousands of hours on the frets. They get a little worn out. Things need to get set up again. He's going to have a fret job, replace the frets with new ones, and it's going to get proper setup. Anyway, right now the setup is such that he's getting really annoyed with it. Don't blame him. The guitar's getting very dead sounding because the action has gone a little bit low. Likely because of the the time of year it is. The humidity is dropping a little bit here and there, and that can tend to, if you can't get them humidified properly, which is very hard for us on the road to humidify our guitars properly, that the action can get a little bit low. So right now he's having trouble with playing the slide and general playing altogether. The getting some string buzz, and I didn't even think I should have, before I started the video, play the guitar a little bit to show you what it was doing, how it was behaving, but it was just fretting out, buzzing. So you'd finger the 12th fret, and you'd get just buzz a little bit. You couldn't dig into the guitar and get a little hard into it. It would just buzz a little bit and kind of sound dead and farty a little bit. So I've got my road kit out here. I've always traveled with a toolkit on the road everywhere I go, because you never know you're going to do something like this or repair the guitar. I've repaired the pickup system in this a couple times on the road, and it's been very handy to have my tools and soldering kit handy. I always carry a spare battery clip usually. I might have to double check, make sure I do have my spare battery clip, because sometimes you use it and then you forget to replenish it. So anyway, I've had to put a battery clip in this guy here. The battery compartment had croaked, meaning the guitar had no power, which renders it useless. So, I'm going to show you before I go into raising the action on this guitar, I'm going to show you my road kit, and I'll grab it here, and we'll restart the video again when I've got it grabbed and a few things pulled out, so you can see my road kit. Something that all sound techs should have on the road with them, these kind of tools. This is my flight kit, so it's goes in my luggage, and doesn't have any liquids or gels or any compressed things like that, other than a little super glue. They don't seem to mind that super glue when it goes in my luggage, so as a check bag. So I'll show you my flight kit. Alright, YouTube, this is my road kit for my portable tool kit. Now I carry this kit with me everywhere I go. It's especially handy when I'm on the road, when I have to fly different places. You never know when you've got to repair something on the fly, even while the band is playing, or maybe you have to take a quick break, or who knows, to fix something. I've fixed many things while it is still in use. I've fixed speaker cabinets and all the like. So this is the kit I carry. So this is a very cool little case. I got this at Mountain Equipment Co-op. It is made of recycled pop bottles and such. They call it on-site equipment. It's very, very heavy-duty. It's made of polyethylene plastic made into fabric, and it's very, very, very heavy-duty. I put the soldering iron in there, and the pointy end sometimes comes up against that, and it still hasn't poked a hole in a couple of years, about 2 years of using it. So it's been a great. It's like a small tool pouch, like a pencil case kind of deal. So that's what the main part of the kit travels in, and it's very self-contained. So here in the kit, I'll start from the left, go to the right here. So one of the most important tools in the toolkit, I think, is super glue. Cyanoacrylate glue. I carry the Gorilla super glue. This is great for many things. It's very strong. It doesn't work for everything that I need to do, so I need to carry the this is LePage's, I believe. It's a thinner cyanoacrylate. It dries a bit quicker for some things. So I had to repair a guitar nut that broke, which I have had to do. That's why I carry super glue in the first place. The bass player had his nut crack off the side one time, and it was made unplayable. So in about a minute and a half, I had the nut on his bass guitar glued back together and readjusted, and everything was ready to go. So that's why I carry super glue. Super glue you can fix just about anything. If you look at my subwoofer repair video, you'll see how I repair a 18-inch subwoofer raw driver with the super glue and put it back in working order, which is something you might need that subwoofer for that gig that night. You show up at a particular bar somewhere. Oh, by the way, our subwoofer's broken. So you can fix it. And then the gig goes way better than anybody ever planned, and you're a hero. The other most important item in the kit is the soldering iron. It's just a standard Weller 40-watt soldering iron. I don't care what I do with the tip with this guy. Sometimes I've been known to refile it with the multi-tool file, which is another item in the toolkit that's not included here because my multi-tool has to always reside on my belt. So you got to have the soldering iron because you got to solder, repair various items. The wire strippers, cutters kind of thing, they're essential. You can't, resolder a speaker cable or a microphone cable or guitar signal cable or the like without wire strippers. So you got to have those. And of course, you have to have solder. I got a couple different sizes here. Small solder off of my bench, which is really good quality. The two with a little bit larger solder, sometimes just a bit more. I've got a non-contact electrical tester. I'm actually going to remove this one from the kit and get a better one because I have one that they're one of my mail goodies videos, which is on my belt in my belt pouch. I just leave it in there just in case because sometimes it's good to have an extra one. If my belt pouch isn't too close, I can grab that. So that's good for tracing down issues with electricity. All kinds of uses. I carry a string winder cutters. I prefer these. And they're a good small set of wire cutters for small wires, and great string peg winders and peg puller. I do have a couple more string winders, which I'll show you as the other part of the kit, which don't reside in this bag because they just don't fit, and they're easier to get to if I, in a hurry on stage, I have to restring a bass. So I leave this one in here just as a tool. I have this cordless soldering iron. You can see it's been, I put the cap back on, it got a little hot, but that's a great little tool. That's also a Weller, and that was about $15 or something, a Canadian Tire. It takes 3 AA batteries, and it's great for small, fine work. Sometimes you get something that's very tiny. You got to solder, and the heat from the larger 40-watt is too much, soldering iron. So that's a very handy tool. Or I have used this in the past to resolder the cable and plug jack for the piano player's sustain pedal. It had got bumped by the crowd, wire got pulled out, and he goes to play the piano, and he needs that sustain pedal. It's an essential piece of the song to make it function, and if the connection comes out of the plug, when the jack is still, connected, then the sustain will be as if it's on, so you can't play the piano. So what I have to do is you go and I've basically taking wire strippers in one hand with a bit of solder and cordless soldering iron and gone and resoldered that connection while he's playing the piano. I pull the jack out, plug it into the hole in the piano, like the headphone jack's not being used, and strip the wires, tin them, resolder them. It doesn't have to be that great a job just to get through the set, and then you can fix it up and do it with the proper soldering iron and make it a permanent repair. But I've done it while he's playing in front of 300 or 400 kids screaming and yelling and losing their minds over the band. So that's why the cordless soldering iron is great and handy, because sometimes you don't always have power at the front of the stage. You don't always want to wait for that to heat up. As long as you can get it tacked in place and get it to hold for the set, an hour and a half for a set sometimes, or 45 minutes, depends what kind of gig we're playing. As long as you get through it and they don't have to stop, that's a great thing. I carry a little thread locker. That's another handy tool sometimes. Something comes apart and you just want to fix it forever. So something's come loose, you can fix with a little thread locker. Many, many uses for that. Pocket screwdriver. Thank you, Parts Express. This came free in a box of woofers for repair at the lower deck, and I was very pleased with that. It came with a catalog, and I was very pleased for that nice little freebie, because pocket screwdrivers are very handy for many things. Some of these are magnetic, so you can pull screws out of inside of something. Screw falls down inside a guitar pedal, blah, blah, blah. You get all kinds of handy uses for that. I carry an XLR connector, a replacement for a microphone output, XLR. Never know when you might need one of those. I carry this little RCA connector because that comes out of a Takamine guitar preamp, in case I have to bypass the preamp in Jason's 12-string. He's got a Takamine 12-string, which are very reliable, and I did have the preamp go down on one time on the show, and I had to bypass the preamp, and that was a way to do it, was to unsolder that or solder that. So I always keep one of those on hand. You never know. Small. Guitar pick, great for, playing the guitar, of course. It's also great for opening up small electronics. I've got battery clips, useful for repairing inside. I've done many repairs on guitar preamps with replacing the inside the battery box a clip for the battery, because sometimes the prongs get screwed up at the most inopportune times, and just a quick touch with the soldering iron, sometimes the cordless one, to those tabs with the tinned up leads of a plug for a 9-volt battery, and you can put a 9-volt battery on the preamp and let it rip until the end of the show. And let's see, I got some spare cable here. I've got other bits of small 18-gauge cable inside the pouch here, but this is from the lead singer's wireless for his 12-string, so if you never need to replace the wire on his 12-string wireless cable for the pack, I've got a piece of spare cable for that. Even says sure on it. Very handy. I just kept that in there from last time I repaired something. Now, this one is a very handy piece of kit. You never know when you've got a problem with the end of a guitar cable. The very most inopportune times, no matter how much you try and keep things clean. This is a piece of fine Scotch-Brite. You would not believe how much this comes in handy. I leave it in the front of the pouch, in the zipper pouch. Having problems with the guitar cable, it's just being crunchy or whatever, and something's inoperative in the pedal board. You can get down your hands and knees, take the end of the guitar cable, scrub the whole tip and the sleeve with this, plug it back in, life goes on. It's going to work. Keep a nice razor blade knife. It's, make sure I don't cut myself. I use the blue blades in it, hardened blades, very handy. Never know, I can use that for even doing a nut slot in a guitar after I've used super glue on it. So it's in place of a small file. And what else? We've got the Speedy Sharp, in case I have to touch up the razor blade knife or my multi-tool blades, because sometimes you just need a sharper knife and your knife's not sharp enough. So I keep that in there. That was a great thing on sale Canadian Tire many years ago for about $10. They're a great thing for sharpening just about anything, especially in a hurry. Carbide cutter. Basically, that's the carbide cutter for a lathe, I would suppose, is what that actually is. And you just market it as a knife sharpener. Great little thing, you never know. That comes in handy all the time. And I carry various heat shrinks. Just a couple of examples here. What's in there's more in there. I just don't feel like pulling it all out and have to put it all back in again. I'm feeling a little lazy sometimes. So heat shrinks, great. Great for quick repairs on just about anything. If you're putting something together and you just don't want to short out, and tape sometimes takes more time to put a couple of pieces of heat shrink on it. Done deal. So there is my Rode small toolkit, and I can fix just about anything with this, pretty much, with the addition of the my belt pouch, which I'll stop the video and I'll grab my belt pouch, which I travel with and leave in my person all the time, and I'll show you that in a moment here. And another tool that doesn't go in the toolkit, of course, that's very essential, is a multimeter. Now, this comes from Princess Auto. You can buy them anywhere. In the States, Harbor Freight probably carries them. This was a $10 investment. And I have a few of these. I keep one in the van in my other toolkit. I have one, I like analog multimeters a lot, especially in loud environments. When you want to see if something's got continuity and makes a circuit, it's much easier to see the needle move than try and see a bunch of numbers or hear a beep when you've got 95 decibels of band playing in front of you. Very quick and handy, and I enjoy it very much. I'm still getting used to it, even after several years of trialing with it and using it all the time. I'm still getting a little used to the analog meter, but I encourage everyone to learn how to use this analog meter. It has many more uses. If you look at my video for ABS brake repair, I use my bench meter, so it could be seen really easily. And it's very handy because you can see the needle move, and it's definite. And I can also check speaker lines with this. You want to see if an amplifier is sending enough signal down the speaker line to the speaker, or crossovers not malfunctioning with a passive crossover inside a speaker cabinet. You can use put it in the AC voltage mode and put it 50 or 100 volts. And when you'll see the needle move every time the amplifier is supposed to be sending a signal, like a subwoofer line or something like that. You'll see the needle move with the music. Very handy, like a VU meter. Very, very slick. Makes it quick for a quick diagnosis sometimes. And inside the little pouch, I carry the alligator clip leads for multimeters. These are great. These are Princess Auto. You can buy them anywhere that sells supplies for, industrial supplies or electronic supplies or electrical repair supplies. They all carry these kind of things. And these are great because you can clip them on the end of a cable. And you don't have to hold it. Very, very, very handy. Anyway, so I'll go grab my tool pouch, and we'll off my belt, and we'll go through that as well. Here is another tool that I keep with the. I'm going to show you. I keep with the string winders in the side pocket of my bag for emergencies. If you got to, set up a guitar, restring on the fly. This really helps if you got to put a guitar on a table. This really helps keep the guitar, steady. If you're trying to do this on the table, this can be a pain in the butt without this tool. This is a great thing from Planet Waves. I've had this for many years. When it first came out, I grabbed one of these. The rep had one, and I made sure to order it right away. The second it came out, this is the headstand, and it folds up. It's very lightweight. It's made of plastic, like rubber feet on it, and rubber on top here for the. You can see this is well used. You can see the rubber's got lots of use on it. Focus. Yes. Yeah, this is great. I use this all the time. This is the greatest tool ever. It's made this job that much easier so I can tune and everything. This is a table in the hotel room. I slid it over between the two beds, and I've got the chair for it sitting right here, so I'm comfortable. Trying to do something in the bed would be my back would be not thanking me for it. So that's just another tool of the arsenal on my road kit. Thought you might enjoy that too as part of the all the other tools. All right, here is another essential piece of gear, piece of equipment, piece of kit. This is my belt pouch. Now, I do not go anywhere without this. I have attended weddings with this on my belt. I attend New Year's gigs with it underneath my jacket. It's never very far, and the most essential piece of a sound engineer is the flashlight. Now, I used to be a Maglite guy, and I still love Maglites, but I just don't like how they worked for me. I need something quick for my flashlight, and this is another piece of gear. You're always looking inside holes, jacks, inside guitars, sometimes where my lights in my hat, which maybe I'll have to do another video on my hat. My hat has lights in it, which is another thing, but very essential for me to use. But so you need the flashlight, inspection light, and you never know when you're going to need this. So that's a tool as much as any other tool, as a hammer, screwdriver, solder sucker, soldering iron, wire strippers. The flashlight is very important. I love these Coast flashlights. It's a great light. It's been very sturdy for me. I like it has a button on the end, so it's a one-handed operation. There's no twisting, turning, trying to light things up. Yeah, Coast G25 Lite, Home Depot special, 15 bucks. Love it. Thank you, Coast, for making such a great tool. We'll have to do a review on that later. And it's the Cooney's cell phone tool pouch, but cell phones don't fit in these anymore because they're too big, but they make great tool pouches still, and I use it for all my tools on my belt. A few of you have watched my videos before previously. I did my mail goodies video on this non-contact electrical tester. This is a great tool. I've shown you that before, so that goes in this. I bought this expressly for use in this kit. I've got a couple different Sharpies. There's my stainless steel Sharpie, which I like to have. And this is my new, I think I showed you this before in one of my other videos. This is the Extreme Fade Resistant Sharpie, resistant to UV, outdoors and things. This is a great Sharpie. It doesn't wear off. Tape as easy as standard Sharpie ink does. Not sure if those are on the market yet or not. I have a pen. I like this pen a lot. It's the Inca mobile pen, and this has got I put real guts in this, so the $12 pen guts is as good as a $100 pen in there. Black ink. You can see it's got a little it's not going to get wet in there. It's got a nice rubber O-ring for a gasket on that, and I use this pen a lot. I really like it. I went looking for something I wasn't likely going to lose, and it's got a carabiner on the other end, which I use for holding the cap when I'm writing with it. And there's a stylus in it for your PDA or cell phone, Android, iPhone, iPad, Android tablet, whatever, or my Windows tablet. So it's good, handy. Just sometimes you just need can't find the stylus or the finger's not working. You got gloves on, you can use that if the gloves aren't contact sensitive for cell phones. And I carry this small pocket screwdriver. This is a great screwdriver. This comes from the dollar store, believe it or not, and it's quite robust. I haven't been able to break it yet. The tips sometimes aren't the hardest, but when is these kind of screwdriver tips any much that hard anyway? And it only costs $1 or something for this. It's got the bits inside the handle, and I use this almost every day, and I really do like it. It's great for scraping, poking, opening. You know, it's got Phillips tips in there, so that goes in there. And there's the my multi-tool, one-handed operation. This is my old Gerber. This is probably about 20 years old. I've managed not to lose it over the years. It's very tough. I rely on this every day. It's got a serrated blade, screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, flathead screwdriver. I've snapped a couple of screwdriver bits off and ground them down with the grinder to make them proper again. So the file's a great file. I use that all the time, and every time we need a file on the road anywhere. So file, find a course either side. So you can buy the new version of this for about 89 bucks at Home Depot here in Canada. So if you like these, that's my favorite multi-tool. I had a Leatherman years ago, about 20 years ago, and I ended up breaking it, and I sent it back. Broke the pliers off. They sent it back free of charge and repaired it, but it was never that as heavy as I liked it to be. This one I can crank on it and rely on that every day. I can get sometimes I've gotten spark plugs out with this. So one-handed operation. Just give it a flick. You're up in the ladder. You're up something, trying to fix something the last second in time when seconds count. And you only got one hand. You're holding something with one hand. You got to tighten it up or crank it up with the other. This is the tool. Just give it a flick. So, yeah. Sorry, Leatherman. I'm a Gerber guy. And for you guys that like Leathermans, they're great tools, but not for what I use. So, anyway, that's the tool pouch. So sometimes I'm going a combination between all the different toolkits, and I can fix just about anything with this. So that's all the toolkit. So anyway, let's get back to the guitar repair and get that action raised for tonight. And hopefully he'll be a lot happier camper, and he won't get so frustrated. So here's something I neglected to included in my kit. It's in the kit, but I had it over here with the guitar, so I forgot to tell you about it. And also, I always carry a pair of scissors in that toolkit as well, so in that little pouch. Gotta always have a pair of scissors. I went and got these at the dollar store specifically to put in that kit, and the smallest scissors I could find were these kids' school scissors, but they're actually very, very sharp, and they're great even for cutting small wires and things like the hotel key cards and repairing things, cutting tape for things. So, and yeah, they're crocodiles or alligator. I like it. So I need those, and there's my 2 string winders. This one is very special. I've had this quite a long time. This goes in the end of your drill. If you notice one of my mail goodies, I have the Alice version of the end of this, and this is great because it does all the different types of guitar tuner pegs. So it does bass guitars, it does acoustic guitars, electric guitars, all the different sizes and shapes. And this is indispensable when Jay the bass player breaks a string. I can go and assist because sometimes he can't stop playing, and or in between songs, we'll have to take he'll have to stall just for a second or two while I help him get that string on. He doesn't break strings very often, but it's a dire thing when they do break sometimes, and you just can't help it, and they fail. So that's he won't have to move. He won't have to go running. I go grab the replacement bass string for him and slide it through the tailpiece and get that on the go. So that's one of my favorite string winders, and there's a peg pull in the back of that. And this is another Planet Waves. This is a great tool. Same as the other string winder cutter in my other part of the kit. I keep these in the other part of my bag, so I don't have to go digging for them in an emergency. And I always carry, say a little piece of thin, I meant by a millimeter for raising action. And I always have lots of guitar, lots of keys, hotel car keys for guitar, for the raising guitar action. And because we stay at so many hotels, and I always keep a couple of these in the top of my case. These are the real Velcro brand cable ties, and I use those for things like this or for cables. But this is a great way to keep all these strings from flying away while I'm going to do this setup. So anyway, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to try the hotel keycard first. I'm going to go a little thicker for raising up the saddle. So here's how we're going to raise the action. I've pulled the pins out and strings out, and there's the saddle here. And as you can see, I have a little bit of the white electrical tape, doesn't leave any residue, won't pull the finish off, just so I can hold the pegs from rolling away and going underneath the bed or something. So here's the saddle. You can see how Mike the luthier has done a great job in making this so we don't have any dead strings with the pickup. You see, he's a great luthier. He does a great job. He's very, very skilled. And yeah, Jordy's wonderful bone pegs. Love those. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the camera because I don't have any good tripod stands with me this time. So I'm going to cut a sliver of this to match the base of the saddle. And we're going to drop that in the slot and make sure it's not binding up. And then we'll restring her up and see how it works. All right, here we go. Made some progress. So it took a couple tries, but I got the right size and shape of this shim, is what you call it, to go on top of the pickup in the slot, to put the saddle on top of, to raise it up just enough to get us the action that we're looking for. And I'm not going to really know what the situation is until I string it up to pitch with all 6 strings, because you need the pull of all the strings to put the right pull on the neck to make the neck pull towards the bridge, and that will give us the idea of what the action comes up a little enough to stop the buzz and make it less frustrating. Because you can't just check it with one string. I was checking with one string going, oh, it's still buzzing. Then I realized, oh yeah, I can't check it with just one string because there's not enough tension. So you got to pull enough pull on the neck to pull it towards the saddle to get at pitch to know what you're dealing with. So I'm going to have to string it up and tune it up to pitch and check it and then see what happens. And if it needs to go a little higher, I'm going to go with a thin piece, a little thinner than the hotel key card, and see how we go. Anyway, so that's the progress I'm making. Okay, YouTube, I'm back. So here I've strung up the guitar and it's up to pitch. And yeah, I'm very pleased. It's a whole different beast. I'm not the best guitar player in the world, but I can play all different chords. And I was actually playing with his spare slide in the case and playing a passage from one of the songs. He's got to play with the slide. I kind of lifted it from the live album we've got for that one song that the lead singer had written for his song I Wish. And I was playing along with the slide in the position at the G string at the 12th fret. And it's playing a lot better. I've set it up pretty much to spec for an acoustic. So at the low E string, top string, it's supposed to be a 6/64 of an inch, which converted to millimeters is 2.381 millimeters. And me being a dough brain, I forgot to put in my string action gauge that I purchased explicitly for this purpose of setting up guitars and basses and things on the road in emergencies like this. So who knows where I put the stupid card that has all the different gauges on it for string heights. So me being resourceful as I am, okay, what's close to 6/64? So I go and I grab a bunch of guitar picks, and I've got 3 Dunlop guitar picks in my hand here, and 0.73 millimeter times 3 is 2.1 millimeters. So 2.381, almost 2.4 millimeters, there's almost 2.5 millimeters, is the spec at the 12th fret, give or take. And as you can see, the string raises up a hair. So that's probably about 2 millimeters. And we're 2.1 millimeters, so that's still under spec, which is, it's not too high. So it's not over spec. So it's not higher than what spec should be. So I'm happy. So it's playing correctly, and he doesn't need it to be high at spec because it's playing plugged in all the time. He never plays it acoustically as a acoustic guitar to be mic'd up or anything like that nature. So as long as it plays properly plugged in at pitch and everything, I'm happy, and he'll be happy. Got to keep those things in mind when you're setting up guitars. Is that if it's not going to be plugged in, it's got to be at spec, or maybe a little bit higher if they're going to play it harder. And you've got to make sure it's not too high, because it won't. If they're only playing first division, it won't matter so much. But if you're playing at the 12th fret all the time, when he plays, his cutaway is extensively used. He plays right up to the last fret. I don't know if you can see how shiny the frets are down here. Is that he's playing all these frets all the time. He's bending and playing all the time. Like he's playing all over this guitar and right up top. Not that many people are going to be playing this often up here. I mean, there's probably a few thousand hours of playing up here in this range of the guitar. So you got to keep that in mind when you're setting up guitars, is how it's going to be played, how it's amplified, if it's amplified at all. And that makes all those variables make a difference. So, and I'm very connected. I spent thousands of hours with these guys mixing front of house, and so I'm listening to what's coming out of this guitar. 8,000 hours of it. It's good to know what's going on here. So I know when he plugs this in, the amplification is going to take up for. He's not going to be digging in as hard as I would if I was playing this acoustically. Now, knowing as much about these as I do, having spent lots of time in the shop. Working on guitars, setting up guitars, doing action, checking action for people in the retail world, checking things out. So I worked in retail a long, long time. Got a lot of experience with this kind of thing. That I know, when it's something that's acceptable height of action, that when you dig into it a specific way, that if it does buzz, once you get it to a certain threshold, if it does buzz, well, that's acceptable. So I'm very happy with this this repair, and it'll be it's going to play a lot better for him and change his whole world, make life on stage a lot easier until he can get such time he can get into our amazing luthier to have it all the frets redone and everything replaced and a good setup, and it'll be way better than I could ever make it here on the road, but it's going to be amazing. So I've been playing it. I've really enjoyed this guitar a lot. It sounds great, acoustic and plugged in electrically into the mixer. So yeah, that's an on-the-road setup for guitar, emergency setup. You can do this too. Learn a bit about it and, have a few tools and things on hand, and you can do it. So Pat the Sound Guy here, signing off. Hope this helps, demystify something else in the live sound world. Well, party on. Pat the Sound Guy out.